Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Shahab, and today we're diving deep into a topic that, unfortunately, many of us are all too familiar with: lower back pain. It's that nagging, sometimes sharp discomfort that can really put a damper on your day-to-day life. We're not just talking about any back pain though. We're focusing on that specific kind of pain that seems to flare up when you're walking, makes sitting for long periods a real challenge, or greets you with an unwelcome twinge when you're just trying to get out of bed in the morning. It's a frustrating experience, and you're definitely not alone if you're going through it. Lower back pain can be debilitating, especially when it worsens with walking, sitting, or getting up from bed. Today, we'll explore the top 5 causes of this type of pain, and what you can do about it. Understanding the why behind your pain is the first crucial step towards finding effective relief, and getting back to doing the things you love without that constant dread of discomfort. We'll break down these common culprits in a way that's easy to understand, so you can be better informed about what might be happening in your own body. Our goal here isn't to diagnose you, that's a job for your doctor in person, but to empower you with knowledge. We want to help you recognize potential issues, understand the mechanisms at play, and know what questions to ask if you do seek professional medical advice. So grab a comfortable seat if you can, and let's get started on unraveling the mysteries of lower back pain and arm you with some practical insights. We're in this together, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll feel more equipped to tackle this challenge. Alright, let's kick things off with our first major cause. Lumbar disc herniation, which you might have heard referred to as a slipped disc or a bulging disc. Imagine your spine has these little cushions between each vertebra called intervertebral discs. They act like shock absorbers. Now, when one of these discs in your lower back, the lumbar region, gets damaged, its soft gel-like center can push outwards or herniate through its tougher outer layer. This bulge can then press on the nearby spinal nerves, and that's where the trouble really begins, leading to significant pain and discomfort. It's a very common reason for the kind of back pain we're discussing today. The pain pattern with a disc herniation is often quite distinct. Many people find the pain intensifies with activities that put pressure on the disc, such as sitting for extended periods, especially in a slouched posture, or when standing still for too long. Bending forward can also aggravate it significantly because this movement tends to push the disc material further backward towards the nerves. Conversely, lying down, particularly in certain positions like on your back with knees bent or on your side with a pillow between your knees, often brings some relief because it reduces the pressure on that affected disc and the irritated nerve. But the pain isn't always just localized to your back. Because a nerve is often involved, you might experience symptoms that travel. This can include radiating pain that shoots down your leg, often called sciatica if the sciatic nerve is affected. You might also feel numbness, tingling, or even weakness in parts of your leg or foot. It's your body's way of signaling that a nerve is being compressed or irritated. Understanding these patterns is key because it helps differentiate it from other types of back pain, and it's a clear sign that something is directly impacting your nerve pathways. Next up, we have lumbar spondylosis, often talked about in the same breath as degenerative disc disease, or DDD. Now this might sound a bit intimidating, but essentially, it refers to the age-related wear and tear that happens to your spinal discs and joints in the lower back. Think of it like the treads on a tire wearing down over time. Your spinal components can undergo similar changes as we get older. The discs can lose hydration, become thinner, and less able to cushion the vertebrae effectively. This process is a natural part of aging for many, but it can lead to pain when it progresses to a certain point or is accelerated by other factors. When it comes to how this pain typically behaves, it's often worse with activity, so walking, standing, or any movement that puts stress on the spine can make the discomfort flare up. This is because those degenerated discs are less capable of absorbing shock, leading to increased stress on other spinal structures and potential inflammation. Conversely, rest usually helps to alleviate the pain as it takes the load off the affected areas. This activity-related pain is a hallmark symptom that many people with spondylosis or DDD experience, making daily tasks quite challenging during flare-ups. Another common feature you might notice with this condition is stiffness, particularly first thing in the morning when you get out of bed, or after you've been sitting or inactive for a prolonged period. It might take a little while to get going or for your back to loosen up. This stiffness occurs because the joints and discs aren't as pliable as they once were, and inactivity allows for some fluid to settle, making movement initially more difficult. While it's a degenerative condition, meaning it develops over time, understanding it helps in managing the symptoms through appropriate exercises, posture correction, and lifestyle modifications to slow its progression and maintain function. Let's move on to our third potential cause: facet joint dysfunction. Your spine isn't just made of vertebrae and discs, it also has these small, stabilizing joints located at the back of each spinal segment called facet joints. They help control movement like bending and twisting and provide stability. Facet joint dysfunction occurs when these joints become inflamed or irritated, often due to degeneration, repetitive stress, or an injury. Think of them as tiny knuckle joints in your spine, and just like any other joint in your body, they can become painful when something goes wrong. The pain from facet joint dysfunction has its own characteristics. It often increases with specific movements, particularly bending backward or twisting your torso. Standing for long periods can also aggravate it because it compresses these joints. Unlike disc herniation pain that often radiates down the leg, facet joint pain is typically more localized to the back, perhaps spreading slightly into the buttocks or thigh, but usually not below the knee. Many people find relief when lying down, especially in a position that unloads these joints, or by slightly bending forward, which can open them up a bit. So, if your pain seems to be triggered more by arching your back or twisting, and it feels more like a focused ache rather than a shooting pain down your leg, facet joint issues could be a consideration. It's important to note that this can sometimes coexist with other conditions like degenerative disc disease, as changes in one part of the spine can affect others. Diagnosis often involves a careful physical examination by a doctor who might perform specific maneuvers to try and pinpoint if these joints are indeed the source of your discomfort. Understanding this specific type of joint pain can guide targeted treatments. Now let's discuss spinal stenosis. This condition involves a narrowing of the spinal canal, which is the space through which your spinal cord and nerve roots pass. When this canal narrows, it can put pressure on these delicate neural structures, leading to pain and other neurological symptoms. While the pattern of your pain, worsening with walking, sitting, or getting up, might make pure spinal stenosis less immediately obvious as the primary cause initially, it's certainly a possibility we need to consider, especially with certain nuances in your symptoms. It's more common in older adults due to degenerative changes over time. The classic pain pattern for lumbar spinal stenosis is often described as neurogenic claudication. This means pain, cramping, numbness, or weakness in the lower back, buttocks, and legs that is typically triggered by standing upright or walking for a certain distance or duration. What's particularly interesting and relevant to your experience is that this pain often improves significantly with sitting down or bending forward, like when leaning on a shopping cart. This forward flexion or sitting posture helps to temporarily open up the spinal canal, relieving some of the pressure on the nerves. So if sitting actually relieves your pain after walking, stenosis becomes a more likely candidate. It's this relief with sitting or forward bending that's a key differentiator. If getting up from bed is painful, it could be due to the transition from a flexed to an extended posture, or simply the general stiffness. However, if prolonged sitting then becomes uncomfortable again, it might point more towards a disc issue or facet joint problem as we've discussed. But if sitting is your go-to for relief after activity, spinal stenosis warrants a closer look. It's a condition that develops gradually, and the symptoms can significantly impact mobility and quality of life if not managed appropriately. Finally, let's talk about something that many of us have probably experienced at some point: a good old-fashioned muscle strain or ligament sprain in the lower back. This is when the muscles or the tough bands of tissue that connect bones in your back get overstretched or torn. It often happens due to overuse, a sudden awkward movement, lifting something too heavy or with poor technique, or even sometimes from prolonged poor posture stressing these soft tissues. While it might sound less severe than a disc or joint issue, a significant strain or sprain can be surprisingly painful and quite limiting. The pain from a muscle strain or ligament sprain is typically aggravated by movement. Any action that engages those injured muscles or ligaments can cause a flare-up of pain. This can be particularly noticeable after a period of rest or sleep, like when you're getting out of bed. Your muscles might feel stiff and sore, and that initial movement can be quite jarring. Lying still, especially in a comfortable, supported position, often provides the most relief because it allows the injured tissues to rest and avoid further irritation. The pain is usually localized to the back, though severe muscle spasms can sometimes feel more widespread. Unlike nerve-related pain that radiates, this type of pain is often described as an ache, soreness, or tightness. It might have come on suddenly after a specific incident, or it could have developed more gradually from repetitive strain. The good news is that most muscle strains and ligament sprains tend to heal on their own with time, rest, and appropriate self-care measures like gentle stretching once the acute pain subsides, and perhaps ice or heat. However, it's crucial not to rush back into strenuous activities too soon, as this can lead to re-injury and a more chronic problem. So we've covered 5 common culprits behind that frustrating lower back pain that gets worse with certain movements or positions. From disc herniations and degenerative changes to facet joint issues, spinal stenosis and muscle strains, it's clear that your back is a complex structure, and there are many potential reasons for discomfort. The key takeaway here is that you don't have to just live with it. Understanding these possibilities is your first step towards finding a solution and regaining control over your comfort and mobility. If your lower back pain persists or worsens, it's essential to seek a medical evaluation, preferably with a spine specialist or orthopedic doctor. Diagnostics like X-rays or MRIs may be necessary to determine the exact cause. Remember, early intervention can make a significant difference in your recovery. A healthcare professional can perform a thorough examination, listen to your specific symptoms, and guide you towards the most accurate diagnosis and an effective treatment plan tailored to your individual needs. Self-diagnosing can be tricky, and sometimes what seems like one thing could be another, or even a combination of issues. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explored these important aspects of lower back health. I hope this information has been helpful and empowering for you. Remember to listen to your body, don't push through severe pain, and seek help when you need it. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more health insights, and feel free to share your experiences or questions in the comments below. I always try to read them. Stay safe, stay informed, and here's to a healthier, happier back for all of you.